Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Teen Talk Central. In this week's episode, we're talking about the kind of 1 year anniversary-ish of the show. If this is something that you want to listen to, or you just want to hear what I have to say about having a podcast for a year, then definitely continue listening to this week's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. It's Mia, and I feel like some of you guys might be a little bit confused if you guys are day one listeners, because technically we hit 1 year back in February, but I hit 1 year's worth of episodes, I think last episode, so that's kind of why this is 1 year. And I just want to talk about everything I've learned and everything I think would be beneficial for other people to know, as well as we kind of, take this reflection. And it's a really big accomplishment. I think a lot of podcasts don't last a year. I know a bunch of people who have started podcasts and it didn't even last, a couple months, and no hate to them, but I'm just really proud of myself too for being able to continue this for a year. And I know I haven't posted every single week sometimes, but overall I've had a really good consistent schedule, and I'm really proud of myself for that. So I just want to say, first of all, thank you guys so much. If you guys have been supporting since the beginning, it's obviously a really big deal, and it's a really big accomplishment. And I think when I started Teen Talk Central, it was really just an idea, and I didn't know how much fun I would have. And 1 year later, it's became really a space for conversations I've never expected to connect to people with, and conversations I didn't think I would be strong enough to open up about. So that's been really fun. I think I sometimes get questions about why I decided to start a podcast, and I think at the end of the day, the goal of Teen Talk Central is just for real conversations for teenagers, just to realize that they are not alone in the issues that they're going through. And I think for people to realize that you can create really strong connections with people just based off of listening and understanding. And I think fundamentally this podcast has always tried to preach understanding yourself and understanding others and understanding people's perspectives and choices in life, and how can you better yourself to then be a better person to other people. And I really wanted to turn my own experiences and lessons I've learned into lessons I hope other people can learn the easier way, not the hard way. I think I've had to learn a lot of lessons the hard way, and I hope that me being able to open up about lessons I've experienced have allowed people to relate and, make it a bit easier for you guys to continue this journey that we call life. I also have learned just a lot about other people through this podcast. Through this podcast, I've tried to turn my life experiences into stories that I can relate to, that other people can relate to, and that's made me really think deeply about the connections I have with people. And it's really kind of let me learn that people relate most to honesty rather than just being a perfect person. It's also led me to learn how to observe habits that people have and see how people treat other people and whether that's correct or not. And it's allowed me to really want to have connections with certain people because I want to learn more about them and see what lessons can I learn to make myself and other people better. Another thing is, I think that vulnerability really creates a community, and I think I've learned that, being able to open up about things that you've gone through can really help you connect with other people in a way that you can't just connect with people on surface level. Another thing I've really learned is just about myself. I've learned a lot of confidence about myself, and I've learned that I can't be scared to try anything, and I've learned that you can't be scared of being judged because being scared will hold you back. So you just always have to try and keep moving forward. It's definitely been a difficult journey to be able to kind of block out people who are saying, oh, it's embarrassing or weird that you're doing podcasts, but I don't really care. I'm doing it for me, and if I can help even one person, that's really important to me. Another thing I've learned is you don't need to have everything figured out at the beginning. I think, especially for me, I had nowhere to start when I started this podcast. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of made an account and I did it, and that was really scary, but also such a fun experience, and I got to learn a lot about just how to use this technology and this new community and what I can do better to get more engagement or get more views and listens, and that's been really fun and such a journey. And I also kind of realized that growth happens, and publicity and trying to get my name out there is also really important and something that I've had to learn how to do, and it's difficult, but it's been a fun experience. Something I do want to talk about is just the things that no one really sees, the behind the scenes, the consistency, beating myself down when I don't post an episode weekly. There's a lot of self-doubt that goes through these things, should I be talking about this stuff or whatnot? But I think I realized, back to what I said earlier, like if I can help even one person through something I've gone through and let them know that they're not alone, that's really the whole point of this podcast. And I'm not doing it for fame or for followers. If that happens, that's great, but I hope that my stories can help other people. And I think sometimes I compare myself to other podcasts and other people who have these sort of podcasts, and I'm like, wow, these people have hundreds of thousands of followers, and it's I don't think it's a good habit. It's something I'm trying to change, but obviously it's kind of hard, but I've really tried to work on I know what I'm worth, and I know how good my own podcast and stories are, and I'm going to trust that, and I'm not going to let anyone else's story kind of get in the way. Success is usually quieter and slower than social media makes it seem. Like, I hit a certain amount of streams and I'm like, wow, that's so little, but then if I realize all those people in an auditorium listening to what I'm saying, that's a really big deal. I think one of my favorite conversation topics that I've done is definitely my friendship breakup episodes, my confidence episodes, my letting go episodes. All of those are really personal, but I also hope that other people are able to relate to them. And I think this podcast really became more than just content. It was a space for me to reflect and get all of my feelings out, and a place hopefully for other teenagers to realize that they're going through similar experiences and they're never alone, even if you feel you're most lonely. So some of my advice I would give to people who are starting a podcast is start before you feel ready, and just don't wait for perfection. Just start. If you have an itch, just start it. Consistency matters more than your kind of idea of perfection. And looking ahead, I just want Teen Talk Central to become this podcast where we can have fun and just relate to and talk, and as I get older, I hope my audience grows with me and we can just talk about college stuff, scary, adulting, scary, accounting, finances, taxes, all sound scary, insurance, terrifying, and I just want to be able to continue these deeper conversations with you guys, and expanding the platform and community, and hopefully getting more people to listen. That's the goal. So if you made it this far, share with a friend, say, this podcast is so amazing, you should go listen, because they should, and it's fun to be around here. And I think 1 year later, the biggest thing that the podcast has taught me is that growth rarely happens all at once, and it really happens step by step, little by little, and it happens so quietly, and it's something that we just need to see as we slowly go on and you reflect and look back, and it becomes a huge thing. So thank you guys so much for listening. I know this was a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's more of a reflection episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much. If you guys want anything else to be talked about, let me know, and I'll see you guys next week for season 2 of Teen Talk Central. Bye.